But anyways, let's get to the matter at hand, which is the fact that if you're a young guy today, let's just say you're in your 20s or your 30s, you're not doing very well. And what I mean by that is that you don't really have that much time to amass wealth. You don't really have the means if you're just the average person. I can only really speak about the circumstances where I live. I'm out here in Canada, particularly in Vancouver, where we have one of the most expensive housing markets in the world. And the kind of income you're making as the average Canadian here, it's just not enough for you to be able to buy a home and be able to go on vacation every once in a while, like once a year, whatever, and be able to save up decent amount of money into your savings and invest all that stuff. It's hard to pretty much live that Canadian dream. So there's another aspect of that that you really have to consider as well. If these guys are all working very hard, you're going to work, you're making your 50, $60,000 a year, but rent is so expensive and the cost of food keeps going up. I'm just looking at the same kind of things that I bought a couple of years ago at 5.99 is up to 8 or 9.99. It's very hard. So the power of your dollar just keeps going down, and you're not able to really save more money. So you're thinking at the end of the year, you're like, okay, I've made these changes. I've adjusted the way I go about my life. So I cut down on certain expenses and I'm cooking at home more. And or I found grocery stores where they sell a lower price of the kinds of produce that I usually buy. You do that, and then a year goes by, and then the cost of the goods that you found cheaper have already gone up to the same price of the goods you used to shop at. So all this frugal shopping that you used to do has pretty much ended up becoming, you just drop a shell on the ground, you crazy bird. Basically, the cost of goods that you used to shop around for, finding the best deals at, have pretty much gone back to the prices before you did that, which makes it very difficult for you to save more money. So now you're at the point where you're like, okay, I've exerted all my options. The only thing I can do is starve myself if I want to save more money. And then as far as investment goes, well, if you're trying to invest into certain stocks, you're going to need a lot of money if you want to actually invest in stocks and make it worth it. Otherwise, you're pretty much just going to have to buy like one or two shares of whatever you think is good. And that's not really going to work out for you in the long term, especially right now in the market where everything is just fluctuating heavily and trending on the downward spiral, anyways. So there's that. And then the other thing, of course, is, well, even if you can save up money, you're barely saving up any money. So your goals of trying to buy a house are nearly impossible because it's going to take like 30 years or whatever in order for you to even have enough for like a 10% down payment. And if your credit is good enough, maybe you can actually get that um, good down payment and be able to borrow enough in order to get a mortgage. But then if you're able to get a mortgage, you're going to be looking at the cost of the actual mortgage plus the utilities plus the property tax, and then you're like, all right, I can't even afford to actually pay for a home, and then you're going to default on that home. So you can't even go that route, even if you're a good little boy who does quote unquote all the right things. So now you're at a point where there's really few options as far as amassing wealth and getting assets and whatnot. So you're pretty much paying off somebody else's asset in the way of renting. Renting is pretty much the only way most people can do it. Most people, meaning the people who not like there are very few people who are financially literate. And I'm not going to say I'm like this genius dude. I think I know the basics, but I do know that there are people who are very financially literate and made good choices when they were younger. They're able to invest a lot of money and they're able to buy on a average income. It is possible. But the thing is, most people don't know how to do it right. And so they won't make the right decisions early on in life. And then when they're a little bit older, that's when they start to realize that they should have made better decisions. So that's kind of what I mean when I'm talking about the average person, because there's going to be two types of people: the people who did it right early and they make a lot of money, so they're able to invest even more. And then the other people who did it right early on but don't make a lot of money, but make enough to actually get ahead themselves. And those are the rare types of people. So yeah, it's very unfortunate. Um, it's sad that this is what it's come down to, where you can't just go through life and be able to build up yourself and build up a nice family or whatever it is you want to do. You can't do that. You have to make very deliberate choices in your life, and you have to make them at the right time if you want to get ahead. And the saddest thing, okay, it's like something crawling on me. The saddest thing that I have to see is like when I'm at work and I'll see guys who are in their 40s or even in their 50s and they're working like these minimum wage jobs. And it always makes me sad because it's just like, man, like I'm very fortunate for the kind of job that I have and the kind of income that I make. But how the heck do these guys even survive? Like, how do you survive making like 40,000, 4,500, or $45,000 a year? Like, how the heck do you even survive? Like, it's so confusing for me. I just, I don't get it. But yeah, I mean, kudos to them for being able to grind, but these are difficult times and it's very hard for you to be able to save money if you're working that kind of job. And well, once you reach retirement age, what are you going to do? You're going to have to keep working because that pension ain't good enough. So yeah, like I said, if you're young, better start thinking now. Hopefully you got something good going on, but in this economy, I know it's a huge struggle to even just find a job. So if you are able to find a job, I highly do recommend that not only do you work towards building yourself up, but you should also find something separate in order to succeed. Because yeah, it's only going to get worse 20, 30, 40 years from now. You think it's bad right now? Well, things are going to be a lot more difficult in the future.